So I'm going to run you through the different cad pots I use when I'm fishing with pellets for F1s. It's very important that you think carefully about this, because the way you actually introduce your pellets into your peg can be the difference between getting linered out or not getting any bites at all and getting foul hookers and missing bites. And you want it as clean as possible if you can. You want to be able to feed your bait, sit and wait for a bite and get a positive bite first time. And how you introduce your bait into your peg can dictate the response you get from the fish. So firstly, the first way you can sort of introduce pellets into your peg is by sprinkling out loose pellets. And there's two pots that I use for that. And they're both from Guru, and the small and medium pole pot with the sprinkle lid attachment. And what these allow you to do is put some pellets in your pot, turn them out and shake a few loose pellets out, turn your pot back over, sit and wait for a bite, and then if you don't get a bite in a couple of minutes, turn it back over and sprinkle some more out. This is great when the fishing's quite difficult, because it attracts fish into your peg quick with a lot of falling bait and a bigger column of bait falling through the water. However, what problem you can have with these pots when the fishing gets better is the fish can start to come up off the bottom as they're hearing the noise of the bait fall. And obviously when you're feeding with a pot, like with a sprinkle pot, you've got a bigger column of bait, so the time from when you feed your first pellet to your last pellet is longer with this, so there's more time that the bait's actually falling through the water, which again can cause you more liners. So great for when the fishing's difficult, but when the fishing's better, I'm going to show you the pots what I'd use for that. So the second way I can introduce the pellets into the peg when I am getting a few too many liners is to clump the bait in. And the pot I use for that is a medium Frenzy soft pot. And what I've got here is one that I've cut down as well that just takes a little bit less bait. But they're both the same pot. And what's important about these is I've cut the holes out on the pot, and all it means is when I put some micros in and I turn my pot over, it's going to come out the pot really quickly and, like I say, narrow that column of bait as it's falling through the water, take any noise away from the pellets hitting the water, and it's just going to keep the fish nailed to the bottom where you want them, which is great when there's a lot of fish feeding. You don't really need to attract them into your peg. Another pot you can use for this is the Guru pots, but what you've got to do is make sure you enlarge the holes on the pots, as you need that bait to come out very quickly to keep the fish pinned on the bottom. So, two top tips when you're fishing with cad pots. The first one is to make sure you have your pot right on the end of the pole. I often see people have the pot 2 or 3 inches back from the end of the pole. And now that's okay, but you need to make sure, especially at this style of fishing, when you're fishing for F1s and you're fishing on a slope, that you're being as accurate as you can. And by having it right on the end of the pole, you're making sure you're fishing bang over your micro pellets, and that is so important and will catch you more fish. So the second tip is a tip for when you're fishing with your sprinkle pots. Often what you do is tap a bit of bait out and still have a bit of bait left in your pot. So it's important that you're not spilling that out on the way back, and particularly when you're playing fish in and around your net, this can be a problem that I see a lot of people have, and I can see them spilling bait out, and I think that can disrupt your peg. So it's very important that your pot is facing upright when you pull a kit in your fish to prevent any bait being spilled out around your net. So those are my top tips for using cad pots when pellet fishing.